We talk about the need for a second passport. And if you're an entrepreneur or an investor, being a dual citizen gives you options. It gives you freedom. It gives you the ability to walk away from a country or from a situation that no longer serves you and maybe actively looking to take more of your money or reduce your freedoms. But what I hear from time to time is, well, that's great, Andrew, and I agree with you, but I will get a second passport when I need it, when the time comes, when things get bad enough. I've talked about why I think now is the best time to get it. And today I'm going to make the case for why you don't just want to be prepared. Now is not just about being prepared, but it's also about a whole host of other benefits. I'm going to tell you what they are coming up. Hey guys, I'm Andrew Henderson, and here at Nomad Capitalist, we talk about legal tax reduction, dual citizenship, investing overseas, and living the Nomad Capitalist lifestyle. You can learn more at nomadcapitalist.com. You know, I was talking to a gentleman the other day. He's about my age, mid-30s, and he very well summarized what I think a lot of successful seven-figure entrepreneurs in his age range have said in as many words over the years. He said, Andrew, I'm a relatively impulsive guy. And it struck me because, number one, society conditions us that if you make decisions quickly, if you act quickly, that you are impulsive, that you are different. And you are different. Most people sit around and they prevaricate and dawdle and they make decisions very, very slowly. And that's why most people never get to the seven-figure level. That's why they never build big businesses. And so I told this guy, I said, there's no reason to be hard on yourself because you are a legitimate, seven-figure earner. Not just for 1 year, but for quite a number of years now. He's been really doing very well and just slowly, gradually building his business. But what he said when it came to passports was, he says, I'd like to go out and get a couple other ones. And for him, it was just about having a couple other options. It was having places to live. It was having places to rely on, because he says, you know what? I don't trust my country. I'm sure they'll screw it up eventually. And he's lived through, and his parents lived through a country that has had some problems. And I think that's why people who have seen adversity in their lives are more focused on getting second passports. His country now is a pretty well-respected country. But he always remembers that potential for adversity. And so that really struck me on the power of now. The reasons that you'd want to get your second passport now. We talk about the Plan A versus Plan B approach to getting second citizenship. We have a video on it on our channel. You can watch it for more details. But basically, the Plan A approach is, I need it now. I'm an American. I want to expatriate for better financial terms, lower regulations, whatever. Or I'm an investor in something that won't accept people of my nationality. I want a second passport to be able to make that investment. It commonly happens in cryptocurrency. Plan B is I'm just protecting myself in case one of those things happens, or I want to go and live overseas later, or heck, let me just have a passport so I can retire there. And so what I think is really important, regardless of what camp you fall in, is that the more time you have actually experiencing being a dual citizen, the more you'll understand it, and the more you'll understand the opportunities that are available to you. I'll never forget the first time when I laid my hands on that first second passport. A feeling rushed through me, and I really just understood, now I have options. At the time, I was a U.S. citizen, of course, and I said, now if I don't want to be a U.S. citizen, I don't have to be. And for many years, I had considered that. I didn't really like living in the U.S. I didn't really like being American. And so I said, wow, finally I have the opportunity. I cannot be American anymore. Any day I choose, I just make the phone call and I can go and do that. I also realized, hey, now I have the opportunity to travel, not as an American, in case the U.S. gets into a spat with someone. It wasn't but a couple years ago that the U.S. got in a big spat with Turkey. And I do spend a decent amount of time in Istanbul. And if you're an American, you weren't getting in. Right? And so having that alternate passport gave me an opportunity. Right? As Mrs. H, my wife, saw not so long ago. She's Russian. Vladimir Putin went out and did something that ticked a bunch of people off. And I said, yeah, do you see why I told you to get that other passport? Now you can travel as that other passport, and you don't have to be the person from the country that ticked everyone off. But I think that having that passport in your hands now, even if you don't need it, is going to cause you to really start to think in a very tangible way about all the different opportunities that are available to you. You potentially are going to go out and make more investments. You're going to potentially be able to go out and open different bank accounts, and you're going to feel this extra sense of empowerment. I can tell you, and you're not going to feel, this is one of those things where until you do it, you're not going to entirely understand what I'm talking about. Sometimes people will come to me and I'll say, here's what we need to do to get you where you want to be. And I'll lay out a whole plan for them. And they'll say, well, I don't understand why I need to do, this, or why I need to do that. And I'll explain it, and I'll explain some of the reasons that it may be just, procedural or logistical reasons. They may not actually have a tax benefit or anything, but they'll have like a lifestyle benefit, like having multiple bank accounts as redundancies. You may not understand, if you're just used to having one bank account, why you would want multiple bank accounts in different countries. Some people say, well, why not just set up one account in Singapore and be done with it? I say, well, what happens when the bank in Singapore doesn't want foreigners anymore? What are you going to do then? You don't want to be scrambling. And so it's sometimes, until you go and you deal with foreign banks and you realize that occasionally, one of them might give you some grief or change their mind, or they may not like your business anymore or whatever, that it's good to have redundancies. And for me, a second passport is the ultimate redundancy, that you no longer have to be tethered to one country. You have that flexibility, because the big point that I always make to folks is you never know when the rules can change. I had a situation a couple years ago. Guy was a U.S. citizen. He had 3 other top-tier citizenships, and I had advised him about 9 months earlier about how there were possibly some new regulations coming in the United States. I said, I don't know when. I said, it's a small chance it'll happen, but if you renounce, you won't have to worry about it. He chose not to renounce. A matter of months later, some regulations came into place, and he was scrambling to renounce, didn't make it. And it affected him. It affected his businesses. And so, things in countries, whether it's tax policy, whether it's countries going to war, countries getting into fights with other countries, those things can all impact you. And they're often very much like bankruptcy. They happen slowly and then all at once, right? A new law that impacts how you're taxed could pass a matter of weeks, right? I mean, you look at the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act in the United States, the media was making fun of Trump. What happened to your tax reform? For the entire time. And then, like early November of 2017, you started to hear some things happening with it, and people weren't sure what was going to happen. And by Christmas time, boom, done, passed, signed into law, right? You didn't have a lot of time to prepare, right? And so having a second passport, again, what I suggest everyone do is go out and get a second passport and travel on it for a while, okay? Let's just say you go out and get a Caribbean citizenship, like I got St. Lucia. What I would do is, let's say I'm American in St. Lucian. I'm going to take that St. Lucian passport, and when I go to Malaysia, for example, I'm going to enter as a St. Lucian, and I'm going to see how it works. And what I've told you before is, like 95 times out of 100, they're going to be like, cool, St. Lucia, great, here you go, have a nice life. I have a Comoros passport. I got it to try the process out. Comoros is an African country, obviously not a wealthy country, and I have visa-free access through that passport to countries like Hong Kong and Singapore. And I've used it in all those countries, very respected, developed countries. One time I was asked, where is this country? And he's looking through, and I'm saying, it's near South Africa, it's in the Indian Ocean. And he kind of looked and, okay, all right, well, it's on the list, here you go, thank you very much. Nowhere else did I ever even really get a question about it. Nowhere else was I ever thrown in a back. I was never thrown in a back room. I mean, it was just like, where's this country? And if you're American, if you're Canadian, I mean, that may be weird to you, but a lot of people get that. I have friends who are from Montenegro, for example, and it's such a small country. They're like, we've never seen this passport before. Where is this? Montevideo, where? Or Serbia. They think it's Siberia, right? So sometimes it's just curiosity, but you want to travel on that second passport before you have to. So in my example of being American in St. Lucian, let's say your goal is to potentially expatriate from the United States in 3 years. Or let's say you just want the option to expatriate. Well, if you wait until that time comes to expatriate, you're going to be very unsettled when it comes time to getting that St. Lucia passport. And what I'll tell you from experience is you're probably going to delay expatriation. Now, I'm not telling you to expatriate. I'm not telling you to renounce your citizenship. I did that. It worked for me for a number of reasons. I'm not telling you that, but I'm saying there may come a time when that's something you need to do. There may come a time when your current passport has some kind of restrictions on it. right? And so if you wait, and because I've seen people do this, I've seen people who have done things in advance, and I've also seen people who are coming to me scrambling at the last minute. And what I've seen is people have not always accomplished the goals that they wanted. They got closer to them, but they didn't get across the finish line because they waited too long and they couldn't get comfortable with the idea of, for example, expatriating, right? So get that St. Lucia passport, just as a random example, and start to travel on it. Now, you're not going to be able to travel potentially to everywhere you want to go. If you're an American, you can't use your St. Lucian passport to enter the United States. But and if you went to try and get a Canadian visa and they knew you were American, they might be like, "What are you doing?" But there might be some country like Russia that you need a visa as both an American and a St. Lucian, and you could go and apply for a Russian visa as a St. Lucian and go through that process and see what that looks like. And so having that time to adapt, I think, is very important. Through that time, maybe you go and open a bank account with that passport. Now, if you are an American, you can use another passport to open a bank account, but you're still required to indicate you're a U.S. citizen. It does not change your reporting requirements. There's no way around that if you're a U.S. citizen. It doesn't matter what other passport you have, so don't confuse me there. But some banks, may just like to see that you're a dual citizen, right? And so give yourself that time to give your passport a test run. Give yourself some time to use that passport because, again, you never know when you will need it. For me, you're never too early to get a second passport. Yes, there's a cost. It could be simply a legal cost and then making some small investment. In some cases, it could be just a legal cost and showing you have some money in the bank somewhere. But you're going to pay something because there's going to be government fees that you probably need someone to help you do it, right? It's going to cost you something. And so, if that's your reason for not doing it, I think being honest about that is important. Listen, I don't want to spend the money. To which I say, ask yourself, what are the potential benefits and what are the potential risk transfers you'd get by having a second passport, and figure out what the value is. And if the value is, hey, I can only spend 10 grand on getting my second passport, then find a second passport you can get the process started for 10 grand and then wait around for a number of years. Right? If it's worth 100 grand or to you or $1 million, obviously you'll have more options. But I think being honest about how this is something that you're not going to regret having. Okay, you're not going to regret in almost any case having a second citizenship unless it's you go ahead and get Iranian second citizenship or something. But that to me is what you want to do. Give your passport a test run. You can never be ready too early. Figure out what the value is to you of a second passport. That could be a want, as in it's just kind of cool, it's fun, it's sexy. For me at this point, that's really what I'm doing. I'm looking to be a citizen of countries that interest me, that I might want to live in, because I've already got travel and flexibility and options pretty well covered. It could also be a need. I need a second passport to be able to make my investments or to be able to keep running my business in a tax-optimized way. No matter what that is, get ready early and then use that being early as a chance to ease into the process so that when you need to use that second passport, it's not uncomfortable. You're going to be able to make proper, unemotional decisions. That's what I've seen in everything that I've done and with everyone that I've helped. How can Nomad Capitalist help you? 4 ways. Number 1, subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell to make sure you get our new video every day. Number 2, get a copy of Nomad Capitalist, the book. You'll learn a lot of my personal experiences over a dozen years of studying this stuff, as well as exactly some of the strategies that you can use to build your Nomad Capitalist plan. Number 3, if you're not sure where to start, but you want to come and learn from my team and I, you want to come and mingle with like-minded people, learn more about our live conference, Nomad Capitalist Live. It's coming up soon. And number 4, if you want some help right now because you've got a burning issue, you need something solved, you want to lower your taxes, get a second passport, or build the Nomad Capitalist lifestyle of your dreams, go to nomadcapitalist.com and click on Become a Client.